In this practice, we'll let go, we'll detach in order to get a felt sense of freedom. This will be a slow flowing practice. We'll be very close to the mat, no standing poses. You might want to use a blanket and blocks for the practice. We'll begin seated. To sit in Sukhasana, you might want to use blocks just for a little elevation or a blanket. As you sit, have your right shin in front and have the shins crossing right about at the midpoint of the shin. Press the baby toe side of your feet down to engage the legs nicely. Draw forward. Press your fingertips on the mat. Bow in. And if that feels a little bit too tight for you, grab your blocks and draw down. Just engage with your breath. And on the next in-breath, lift yourself out of the pose. Take your right hand to the right side. Come to your fingertips. Take your left arm over your head. And enjoy the stretch. Just feel the freedom on the left side ribs. You can look up. Bend your right elbow a little bit more to take you a little bit further. Use your right hand to keep your left sit bone nice and firmly drawing toward the earth. Now free your left arm, take it behind you, and start to look down so that you get a slightly different stretch to your neck and shoulder area. And inhale, rise up. Cross your legs the opposite way with the left shin in front. Press the right shin right into the belly of the calf muscle on the left shin. Keep your baby toe side of the feet very active. Come forward, take your hands to the blocks or the floor. This is a very slow flowing practice, so just allow yourself to go very easily into these poses. And as you're ready, rise up. Take your left hand to the side, come to the finger tip-top position. Take your right arm up and over. Bend your left elbow. Draw down. Keep on pushing the mat with the left hand to root down through the right hip. Just let yourself go a little bit more fully into the pose. Have the left arm very active so the right sit bone doesn't lift up. You can look up if you wish. Now take your right hand behind your back with the back of the hand pressing the low back. Just bow in toward this left side. Look down. Get even more distance between your right ear and your right shoulder. And inhale and rise up. Take your feet together in a prayer pose in Baddha konasana. Lift your knees with your arms. Now resist that lift with your legs. So lengthen from the pelvis to the knees to engage the legs nicely so you can open the posture more fully and bow forward. So it may not seem like you're going very far, but just draw your heart forward, let it lead the way, keep your chin slightly lifted. And now come out of the pose to come to tabletop position. In tabletop position, tuck your toes under, walk your hands forward, and just allow your heart to soften down. So in this pose we'll call puppy dog pose. The pelvis is lifted. The hands are wide apart. You're just getting a nice fullness to the chest. Walk your hands over to the right. Stack your left hand on top of the right hand. Reach your left hand a little bit taller than the right. Shift back to the center position. Notice the difference. Walk your hands over to the left side. Stack your right hand on top of your left. Keep your armpits and elbows lifted. Reach your right hand a little bit taller than the left. Make your way back to the center position and come back to tabletop. In this tabletop position, step your right foot toward your right hand and walk your right hand to the left. So both hands are to the inside of the right ankle. Now move the right knee forward so you get a stretch to the back thigh and shift back. And do that a few more times. Move the right knee forward and move back. One more. Draw forward. Draw back. Come back to where you started. And as if you're trying to draw circles with your pelvis, just move the pelvis clockwise. Now counterclockwise. Now let's see if we can go just slightly deeper now that we've moved the hip area quite a bit in this pose. So you can take your blocks if they're available to you. Take your forearms to your blocks. Have your right knee right over the ankle. See if you can get more of a stretch with the left thigh. And see if you can hold the pose. There might be a little discomfort, but see if you can just attune to your breath to focus in on finding more fullness in the pose. Now come out of the pose and come back to that puppy dog pose. So with your knees hip distance apart, with your hands reaching forward, draw the pelvis back. If you prefer, you can come all the way to child's pose or downward facing dog. I like staying close to the mat in this practice of letting go. Just allows you to feel so much more anchored and grounded. And as you're ready, come to tabletop position again. Take your left foot forward toward your left hand and start to move. Just move forward and move back. And just going to notice how this side feels. With easy movement. And see about moving now in the circles. First, do the clockwise circle. It can be a very small circle. And counterclockwise. Now take your forearms down to the block. Some of you might be able to take the forearms to the floor very easily, but see if you can just calibrate it for yourself. Customize the pose for yourself. Can you take the forearms down? Can you keep the left knee roughly over the left ankle? Can you hold the pose? And just draw your attention to the breath. Just settling in. Just kind of noticing the differences between the sides. And as you're ready, move yourself out of the pose to come to puppy dog, downward dog, child's pose, your choice. To just balance out the sides. To come back to find fullness in your breath. Now come down to your belly. Have your forearms parallel in the Sphinx pose and spread your fingers. Pull back from the fingertips to the elbows. Pull back isometrically to draw your sternum forward. Take the heads of the arm bones back. Now press your fingers so that you're drawing isometrically forward slightly to lift up your belly and lift up the tops of the thighs. Now draw the tops of the thighs down, the belly down. Pull from your fingertips back to your elbows. Take the heads of the arm bones back. And do the opposite. Press the hands, draw them forward toward the front of the mat. Lift up your navel off the mat. Lift the tops of the thighs. And now bring the tops of the thighs down. The low belly down. Pull from the fingers to the elbows back. Get this nice opening to the chest. And one more time. Press the forearms. Lift the navel, lift the tops of the thighs, draw it down, move your heart forward as your arms stay very active. Come to tabletop one more time. Take the right knee forward. Now it's your choice. If your knees are fine in pigeon pose to take your right knee to the right side, your right foot to the left side. Do that. I'm modifying this quite a bit because a lot of people have some knee issues when they do that. I'm taking the knee straight forward and coming down to press my forehead on stacked hands. Press your third eye very firmly. You can rock it slightly. You can move your pelvis slightly to the right and slightly to the left. Just feel like you're getting the rotator muscles, this hip flexion, working a little bit more fully. Now lift yourself up and trade sides. Come to tabletop before taking your left knee forward. And again, left knee can go to the left edge of the mat. Left foot goes to the right. Just bow in. Pause here with your forehead resting on your stacked hands. Feel free to move the pelvis side to side. Lift yourself up. Come to sit again. If you like elevation, just sit, grab your blanket or sit on blocks. Take your right shin forward, your legs active. Again, bow forward. Just notice the difference now. Use your hands to keep the pelvis grounded, to keep the right sit bone really rooting down. Inhale, rise up. Cross your legs with the left shin forward, the right shin back. Activate the legs. Bow forward and down. Rise up. Come to lie down on your back. Have your blocks close by. With your knees bent, place your feet together. Find this nice opening in your chest. You can stay here or bring one block underneath your pelvis. get a little bit more opening in the upper chest. If that's not working for you, take your knees together, take your feet hip distance apart. Enjoy your breath. You might want to take the second block underneath. So any variation to help you open the chest, if you'd like to take your feet hip distance apart and have this very passive back bend with the sacrum supported. Again, take your attention to your breath. Soften the outer body. Keep a brightness to the breath, a fullness to the breath. You can make your way to Savasana as you're ready. Move your blocks to the side. Stretch your legs out with your arms resting at your sides, your palms open. This practice of just allowing yourself to just let go. To give your full attention to your body, your breath. Stay with that felt sense of clarity. Let the breath just dissolve any feeling of contractedness. Allow your pelvis to feel very heavy. The shoulder is very relaxed. Nice long in-breath through the nose. And exhale breath through the nose. Now just let your breath be very free and natural. you let go so that you can get that glimmer of freedom. Thank you for joining me in the practice, for letting go. Namaste.